Evening all, welcome back to Kicking Dust, episode number blah, 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 who cares. Anyway, so look at this shotgun. It's funny. You can be quite selective with your footage with shotgunning, and I tried using a shotgun all night. It was abysmal, didn't work, it was horrendous. I cried at the end of it because it was a bit weepy, it was so terrible. I'm no good with a shotgun, and it's weird because in other games on PC, I'm quite good with a shotgun, so go figure. Add me on Twitter. I know I keep harping on about it. Twitter is life, Twitter is mother, Twitter is son, Twitter is brother. Just join, just do it. Just do it, bro. Don't think about it, just do it. There we go. So, what to talk about today? Well, this is a rather slow map, and unfortunately, I think this is actually one of the traits that a lot of the maps seem to be getting at the moment. Is a lot of people just give up after the first few minutes if they don't win, or if they don't get that elevated position, or if they don't, something just doesn't happen right for them. They give up, and this is a wonderful example of what to do when there's not much to do. So yeah, I think this is. Look, already people are leaving. It's not good. It does seem to be a slight annoyance of the game where people just generally leave. Yeah, I try not to leave. I think we've only left a couple of matches lately, usually because there's a gang forming and they want me to hurry up. So that's usually the reason why I'm leaving. Honest. Anyway, so I think there's kind of a bit of a kind of negative with the game at the moment, in that it can take a bit of time to get a good match. I'd probably say 2 out of the 5 games that we had last night were really good. 2 of the other games were kind of so-so, usually because we were redlined or something like that, and then 1 was abysmal, and that's usually where I quit. I think that's kind of the way it's working at the moment. How many matches do you play in a row? If I'm lucky enough to kind of get like 4 or 5 matches in a row, I'm doing well. I can't play any more than that. I don't know why. I think it's just I'm not that bothered really. I think I just get to that point where I'm kind of done. Maybe that's how a lot of players are with this game at the moment. I think it's a lot of what will keep people playing, I would have thought, would have been that kind of that continued thing like PC, or that kind of progression towards a suit or something like that. Now that that's not happening, as I jump to avoid being run over. Oh, look at that. Couldn't ask for a better kill, could you? He tries to run me over, you do a jump, boom. Love it. I do honestly hope that there is some future for the game. Now, let me tell you my idea that I had, which was as I kind of try and stalk Stefan. I just tried to stand as close as I could to him to see if he got a bit uncomfortable. I had a theory about the game that actually could have saved it, and it was related to somebody's comment. So I am stealing your idea and claiming it as my own. It was that if they had made the entire map generation for each round completely random, that might have saved the game. Because think about it, you go into a map and there's the sockets that are plugged with something completely random every time, and I know some of you are saying it is. No, I mean, make it so that you could in some cases have had a map which was completely flat or completely rocky. I'm thinking like I think Mountain Warblade did this. Post in the comments if I got that right. Mountain Warblade, I think, had a random generated series of maps, and so if you were fighting by a river, it would generate a river. It didn't work. I'll be quite honest with you. Well, no, it did work, but it made it quite frustrating when you fought next to a mountainous region, because you couldn't use your cavalry or whatever, which I guess was kind of actually the point of it. So in a way, I guess it did kind of work. Anyway, what if they had done that for this, so that every map you play has a random position for the buildings, a random smattering of cans, a random elevation map? Imagine how much fun that would have been. Now, would that have been fun? Question mark. Because a lot of players maybe don't like the randomization. Maybe they like to see what map it is, so they know they can just go and get the sniper rifle and sit on that hill because they know it works, and sit there and do that. That could well have been the case, and I think it's an interesting point, because when you think about games generally, the unique selling points of games, a lot of the time, I guess, an ever-changing map, I don't think has ever been done properly before, ever. So even if you play stuff like Planetside 2 or H1Z1 or DayZ or anything like that, The simple premise is that the map is known to you after some time. And I love the thought that you could completely randomly generate a surface terrain. It could be completely featureless. It could be that, you know, you drop in the the turrets, the supply depots, whatever it may be. You could call them in, and it may be that it's still inaccessible. I like that thought. I think that may have been one of the ways to save this game, and it could be one of the nice things that they maybe look to do in the future. Formulaic maps become, well, formulaic, and I think they become slightly boring. And I would say that surely, if you're going to try and do a game that's different, because again, you can't compete with the CODs and the Battlefields, you have to innovate beyond them. And that is if ever there is anything that you can do as a smaller business to take on a larger business, is to actually innovate your way around those great big hulking bastards of companies. And I think COD and Battlefield have, you know, that would be something that I think would completely dominate them. In you take a concept like the map and you make it completely random. Yeah, it can give you a lot of errors. It may not work. Maybe it's been done before, but I'm not aware of any time where it's been done before. But I'd love to have seen that as maybe a thing. So there we go. Maybe it's going to be an Eve 2.0, Eve Revenant calling it now. Maybe it would have been there, I don't know. But something just tells me that it could be something we see more of. I mean, an example here would maybe be you could have a completely random generated ground combat around a structure that is familiar. So it could have been something like the research, development, whatever thing. You could also have like planetary interaction modules that are all pretty standard, but the map and terrain around them could be completely alien to you. It could be sea, it could be water, it could be anything really. I think I like the thought of that. But then you go into the thing where you do have that regularity, which would be ship design. For example, if you're doing ship v ship, which I do hope Eve 2.0, Eve Revenant calling it now has, because I would love it to have that ship v ship context. So you could board a ship. Now, you know, maybe there's a risk there, because if you've got the same design for every single ship, that's not great. It could be that there's like the same grid, but certain doors are closed. Do you know what I mean? So it's like Payday, for example. Is it Payday? Yeah, I think it's Payday. Where they kind of close off the map. You compartmentalize them. If they did that, that would be so freaking awesome. I would just throw my money at the screen and buy that, because I like the thought that there could be this this kind of continuing evolution of the game, which tries to just make ever more unusual maps. And I think, you know, you talk about unique selling point, and when you really talk about unique selling point when it comes to games and electronics of some kind, really your unique selling point is what people will tweet and repost and hashtag and whatever. And I think if they don't have anything, I mean, this game is funny because I've been doing a lot of GIFs lately for this game, and I don't think anybody's ever done Dust GIFs for Twitter before, which is a shame, because it's really kind of a fun thing to do actually. But it's an interesting thing because I don't think a lot of people are necessarily interested, let's say, with Dust from a social media point of view. So, you know, it had a kind of mixed presence on Google Plus, it had a mixed presence on Facebook and so on. Whereas if you kind of do something that's unique about the game, then that gets you. So let me give you an example. Just Cause 3 with those rocket exploding grenadey things. What a brilliant idea that was, because people will go and buy the game because they'll see GIFs and funny things happening with those things. Then that will make people go and buy the game. Well, that's what Dust needed. It needed this kind of unique, innovative, kind of funny product that people would say, oh, that's clever, and then gone and bought it. Do you know what I mean? I think if they'd have done that, we would have been maybe in a better place. And I think it's just the changing nature of the market, I think, because, you know, you look at a lot of games nowadays, they can almost win or lose on the uniqueness of a single attribute, and a single thing in a game could define it. And I think that is certainly a missed opportunity, maybe. So let's hope Eve 2.0, Eve Revenant calling it now, maybe has that, because that would be pretty awesome. To have just something completely random or something completely different, something that people will tweet. I mean, it's funny because I don't think anything in Eve is actually that unique, although it is, but you would not believe it if you saw it. You know, I'm probably not making any sense. Post in the comments if any of this makes any sense. It's that, you know, unique kind of selling point of the game, like Just Cause 2 had. I'm trying to think of another one. Nope, nothing comes to mind. But yes, that kind of unusual characteristic or clever little thing of the game. I'll give you an example, actually. Just thought of one as I say that. Oh, God, what was that game called? I can't remember what it was called now, but it was basically like a GTA rip-off, and it had a gun that you used, and as you shot the ground with this gun, a shark would rocket out of the ground, eat the person, and draw them back under the pavement. Such crazy stupidity, but oh my god, funny as hell. I really did like that. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. So it's things like that that I just would love to see a bit more of in the game. So there we go. What you'll see now on the screen is we decided not to kill anybody too much. It was, although Stefan did actually use his choke grin. That's a strange name for a gun, but we were just so dominating them. We're trying to melee them. We're just trying to see what they do. It's kind of like just, bored, to be honest. And then something terrible happened. We killed this guy, and then a large amount of teabagging happened. I think it's. This is unfortunately one of those grainy kind of cop videos that they show every so often in the States of somebody being absolutely abused and beaten. It's horrendous. It's terrible. I think all involved should be ashamed of themselves for doing such terrible acts of teabagging. But there we go. Slow match. I think this is the kind of thing you get with a slow match. You have to make your own entertainment as we send him on his way. So I don't know. Post in the comments if you agree what I've been saying. I think there could be, there could be so many simple things that you just build into the game or any game that just sells it. I think one of the reasons I bought Fortress Craft Evolved was this simple ability to control a power grid. I know that's kind of a bit more complex, but because I like Minecraft and I like blocky games, I think they're fun. I think there was definitely the simple premise that the fact you could build this power grid that you then transmit underground. I thought that was so clever, and I think that's a great example of a game that really does try and trade on its uniqueness. Even though it's very similar in style, it's actually completely different in innovation. So anything that has a little bit of innovation in it, I'm a big fan of. I don't think there's enough of it, and you can't just make another shooter, even if it's a space shooter, which is a relatively lower use thing. Things like Warframe have completely I think overtaken things like Dust now, which is a shame in a way, but I would love to have seen a lot more focus on the lore, the story, the empires, the background of this huge spaceship game going on, and drawn in somehow this ability to then have random events, random things happen, much more kind of roaming stuff. So for example, I looked online last night at the Darkstar Army stats page. First thing I noticed, we've got millions and millions of ISK in there. No idea where that's come from. And secondly, we had 100,000 command points, which I don't even know what they are. And I was told in gang that apparently they're what you're using to do raids on PC districts. And I was like, oh my god, you mean we could actually right now use these points and go and raid a district? That would be freaking awesome. And I was told, no, it would start a match that would take place in an hour's time. And it's like, oh, for God's sake, I don't want to do that. I want to go and raid something now and then, because think about it, a raid against a group of people who are ready for you isn't a raid, that's just a battle. A raid should be something that says, I'm going to go and attack your district and steal stuff. Yeah, there may not be anybody there, but lol, I'm stealing your stuff. And therefore, if anybody's online, they immediately get an emergency warning to say, your stuff is being stolen, which is the downside of owning space and land. Come defend it. And I just think if they couldn't even do that, then they can bugger off with that mechanic, because it's just such a missed opportunity. Again, another chance to do something unique, lost completely to the winds and the ether. But there we go. Post in the comments, let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoyed that very much.